We cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. Throwing out crystals. We don't need these stones. And we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Yahuwah. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Yah Israel. Tearing down idols, we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals, and we don't need these stones. We ain't no gods, that's a job for Yah. Yeah. Oh, all praise. Who we say? All praise. Hey, all praise. Sing it again, all praise. Let's lift up a praise to Yah, yeah. All praise. We won't go the way of the pagan. We don't need no potions or sages. We won't let your word be forsaken. Even if we're hated, even if we're hated. We won't go the way of the pagan. We don't need no potions or sages. We won't let your word. No, even if we're, we won't go the way. We don't need no potions or sages. We won't let your word be forsaken. Even if we're, even if we're hated. Tearing down idols, and we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals. We don't need these stones, and we ain't no gods. That's a job for Yah. Everybody help me say all praise.
All praise to the Most High.
I can't hear you say.
All praise to the Most High.
Oh, all praise. Hey, all praise.
All praise to the Yah Israel.
The Negro.
Shalom, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Hopefully everybody's doing well, doing good. Hopefully you had a great Shabbat with family and friends. Praise the Most High. Had some worship. Hey, family, shalom, shalom. So, hey, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is an epic day. It's an epic day. So, if you don't know, today's the day is the release of the book, Black History Case Files. And actually, let me see if I can pull up my screen while I talk here. But it is available, family, and I'm just going to show you a few things as far as where you can get it if you weren't able to tune in on Friday, as well as show you a few other things that I didn't show you on Friday. So we'll go through a couple of videos as well. But again, hopefully everybody's doing well. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat, everybody that's tuning in, and yeah, just want to give you an update because we do have some updates as far as the availability of the book compared to where we were on Friday. So today is, we have made some progress on that front. But to that end, let me see if I can pull up this and share my screen here, family. Hang on. So again, hopefully everyone's doing well. Let's see here. Let's do this. All right, there you go. So, what's going on with all that? Oh, the adventure. Okay, now I'm just taking a look at the chat. All right, well, hey, family. So just a quick update, just for those of you all who may not have been able to tune in on Friday. But so the book Black History Case Files is available, family. So right now it's available in two places. Shortly thereafter, I'd say maybe like a week or two from today, it should be available in, Barnes and Noble and other stores around the world. Should be available at your local bookstores in South Africa, throughout Europe, and some places over in South America as well, family. Again, what we talked about this past Friday, and that is, this isn't a big book. Like, it's not one of those big textbooks that you need a book bag to lug around. No, this is a standard 6x9 book, one of those books that you can hold in your hand. It has roughly 211 or 14 pages or so. It's an illustrated book, so it has roughly 80 colored pictures. It's not a black and white book. It's a colored book. If you're familiar with the Hidden Hebrews videos, documentaries that I've done on YouTube and some of these other platforms, it kind of follows that same vein in that, I like to use a lot of visuals in, doing documentaries. So same goes for this book as well, family. It has a lot of visuals in this book as well, just to illustrate the point, what we're talking about. And, again, if you're wondering, it's like, all right, Benaya, well, we've already, I see a comment in there, a question that says, is it hardcover? So yes, it's hardcover and paperback. Hardcover and paperback. That's a great question, and we'll take a look at that here shortly. But just want to let you know that it does cover some of the stuff that's in the videos, because I do think the things, the topics that's in the Hidden Hebrews videos, that is foundational. Like, we have to start with, defining who the Negroes are, right? We have to start with the scattering of Israel. We have to start with the, Spain and Portugal and the transatlantic slave trade and all that stuff. It's kind of like, telling the Batman and Superman story. You always have to start off with, baby Clark Kent landing in landing in the field, right? Or with Batman, his parents being unalived in the alley. Like all the stories have to start off the same way, and then from there, we get into some stuff that you may not be familiar with, and that's really the way that the book is designed. And really, family, this is the way the book is designed to family is that didn't want to give you a million pages in the book, wanted to make it short, concise, directly to the point, and again use the visuals to prove to get the point out, to get the point across. So hopefully that that's in this book, family. And what else? Let's do as we go through this, family. Let me show you on the website as well. But the book is in paperback and in hardcover, and you can get to it two ways. So one of the things we talked about, I guess it was Friday, family, was you can get to the book, of course, through the website. So the website is, let me copy paste this into the chat. So this is the website, blackhistorycasefiles.com, or it can be a little bit to type in the window. So you can do let me type it in, blackhistorycf.com. So this is another website alias that will also take you to the same page. So blackhistorycasefiles.com or blackhistorycf.com. It will take you to the same site or place. And then most high willing, you'll get to this landing page. This is the home screen, family. And, it's pretty much self-explanatory. You click on the shop now button or the shop button, and it'll take you to the books. Right now, I will tell you right now, there's only one book type that's showing, and that's Black History Case Files, Buried Heritage. But I do have, hint, hint, a second book. It's more like a booklet, and we'll go over that here in a little bit in a follow-up video as well. But that second booklet is even more direct and to the point, and it's really targeted for those who are not in the awakening, are not awakened, and those of our family and friends and stuff like that. And this is one of those books that directly to the point, has some quick hitters in there, and you can hand it to them and walk away. So, but we'll follow up on that in a little bit. So here's the book, family. So on the website, as you can see, it's $19.95. That's for the paperback, and $29.95 for the hardcover. And when you get in here, this is where you'll have your choices. And of course, if you select paperback, you'll see it says $19.95, or if you select hardcover, $29.95. Now, here's where the difference between the website and Amazon. And I think, let's see, I'm just low key want the hardcover. Okay. All right. Yeah. Hardcover is perfect. We'll tell you this. Let me also pull up Amazon. So if I pull up Amazon.com, let's see, Amazon, and we go to Amazon's website, right? And so I type in, Black History Case Files book. Black History Case Files book. I already searched for it earlier. So it is on Amazon. Praise be to the Most High. Hallelujah. So if you click on here, now let me just tell you about the difference between Amazon and the website. So first of all, you'll see there's big price difference between the price of the hardcover on Amazon versus the price of the hardcover on the website, right? And the reason being is, of course, Amazon has additional cost and charges. They even charge more just to print the book than the company that I use to print it via the website. But one of the big differences, family, is time. So if we go over to the Amazon site, you'll see where it says, let's see, if you order this book, let me click on the paperback. I think that's probably the better comparison. So if I click on the paperback, let's say, for instance, if you order the book through Amazon via the paperback, you'll see this, they get this thing out quick. Like today is August the 3rd. They're saying they can get this book out to you by Thursday. Now, the reason why this is amazing to me is because this is what we call print on demand. So literally from the time you purchase the book, they literally have to print the book, print it, put it together, put the spine on it, put the cover on it and all that stuff, make it look good, get it out the door. This is fast. Now, and if you have Amazon Prime, you do not have to pay for shipping. You see where it says free shipping with Amazon Prime. So this is one of the benefits of ordering through Amazon. You'll get it fast and you won't have to pay for shipping. However, and also there is a revision that Amazon, as of this morning, they have updated the paperback book with the latest revision because there were some errors in the prologue that I had to correct, but I couldn't do it until Amazon released the book for Go Live. So got that taken care of. Amazon made the updates on the paperback. So if you want to order the paperback, you have the latest revisions. You're good to go. Only know that when comparing Amazon to the website, of course, I'm just like you, family. I go out there and I take a look at the customer reviews, and I've looked at the customer reviews for Amazon books. One of the complaints, and it's not all the time, but just one of the complaints is because they get this book out to you really fast. The quality may suffer a little. Like, if you look at the cover of it, maybe the alignment of the graphics and the color, in the cover may not be absolutely perfect. So just, things like that. And of course, if you see any defects or anything like that, just send it back to Amazon. I'm sure they'll swap it out for you. Same thing with the website. And actually, I need to make sure it's bold on the website, that website as well. If you get the book, any defects, you have about 14 days from the time that you received the book. Just take a look at it, make sure everything looks good. No crumpled, wrinkled pages and stuff like that. If you order through the website, they normally ship it to you in a hard cardboard case. So usually when the book comes, it's in real good shape because it's not being dinged or anything like that in transport. But in Amazon, especially when they ship the paperback, they tend to stick it in one of those envelopes with the bubble wrap on it. So sometimes they can get a little dinged up on there. So just kind of throwing that out there. That was one of the complaints as well, that Amazon, when they ship out the paperback, they'll stick it in that bubble wrap envelope as opposed to the cardboard, which will totally protect it. So that's just another thing. So just be mindful of that, family. So that's really one of the main differences is that timing wise, Amazon will give it out to you really super fast. Just the thing to keep in mind is that if you're ordering the paperback book, they will stick it in that bubble wrap. Some people have complained that that's kind of damaged their merchandise coming out to them. And then the third thing is some folks complain about the how do they put it? They put it. Oh man, I'm trying to think of the word. The brightness of the colors within the book. And I've seen this with the paperback. So the brightness of the colors within the book, people complain that with Amazon it's vibrant. They say with the Amazon books, it's not as vibrant compared to some of these other book creators or printers. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. If you're not really a hardcore book reader, you may not even notice it. But just for the hardcore book readers, people say that, hey, Amazon's okay, right? But this other company that I'm using through the website has a better, higher rating. So again, I think if you're ordering, just to keep it simple, family, if you're ordering the paperback book, I think that either Amazon or the website is okay. If you order through Amazon, it will get there faster for you. And also, if you order through Amazon, it will be probably like $2 cheaper. And you might be saying, all right, Brother Benai, how can it be $2 cheaper when on the website for the paperback it's $19.95? Well, remember, Amazon, you get free shipping. So Amazon, if you have Amazon Prime, you're not paying for shipping. However, on the website, the company that prints the book also charges for shipping. And for the paperback book, I believe it's like $6 and change for to ship it out. So you're talking about, $19.95 plus, $6 and some change for shipping. So you're going to be around, $26 out the door plus tax, whatever, for the book. So it's going to be, like I said, probably like a couple of dollars more expensive if you order it from the website versus Amazon. Amazon will get it to you faster. And like I said, just according to some customer reviews, Amazon might ship it to you in that bubble envelope, which, just be careful when you get it, family, through Amazon. Just make sure you inspect it, and if there's anything wrong with it, let them know, send it back, that sort of thing. Same thing through the website. If you order through the website, any damaged books, that sort of thing, within 14 days, just send it back. Email me, and let me see, do I have my email address up here? It is on the website. If you click on contacts or contact, there's a couple of different ways to get in contact with us. You can either use this email address right here. You can also use this web form. You can fill this out and send it, and it'll also send an email behind the scenes. And there's also a chat bot off to the right where you can use the chat bot too. So either way, family, that's a good way to contact us if you have any issues at all. But praise be to the Most High, we're praying that you don't have any issues and that your order gets to you, without being damaged. Like I said, through the website, the books will ship, whether or not it's a hardback or paperback, it will ship in that, it should ship in that hard, what do you call it? Cardboard shell. So it should keep it in pretty good shape. So that's the difference, family, through Amazon for the paperback. So like I said, it's either or. It's totally up to you. Oh, and another thing is timing, family. Almost forgot about that. Timing wise, as you can see, Amazon gets this thing out to you super quick. I'm not even sure how they do that. How they getting this thing out to you. Even said or faster delivery by the 7th. That's amazing, family. They're printing that thing out and getting it out the door. So hats off to Amazon for that. But if you get it through Amazon, you can literally get it this week. If you order through the website, however, it's going to take at least a week before it even ships, because it takes them a week to at least print it. And at least, when I timed it myself, when I ordered the books, because behind the scenes, family, I've been testing this out and getting books printed and sent to my home address and inspecting the books and checking them out and then making adjustments and kind of just going through that process. My experience, family, when I've ordered through the website, it takes at least about a week for the paperback for them to at least just print it. And then, of course, they'll put it in that hard shell and they'll send it out. And so however long it takes for the shipping to take, it's kind of up to whatever you select on the shipping. But, just know that if you order through Amazon, you can get it within a week. If you for the paperback, if you order through the book, it's at least going to take you a week or maybe 2 weeks before you get that book. So just throwing that out there just to kind of level set expectations on that. So that is the paperback book. Now for the hardcover book, this is when things change. So a hardcover book in Amazon, what I'll say, family, if you want the hardcover book, I would say for now, do not order it through the Amazon store just yet. Why? Because there's a revision that's not, I haven't gotten the confirmation from Amazon that they have loaded the revision in place for the hardback. And even when I checked it on the website, it looked as though it wasn't loaded yet. So I would hold off on ordering the hardcover from Amazon just yet. Maybe order it from them. I think probably by tomorrow they should have it available. But I'll let you know, family, but just I would definitely not order the hardcover from Amazon today. The other choice for ordering the hardcover, of course, is the website. So if you ordered the hardcover from the website, again, it's going to be cheaper because you can see hardcover book, $29.95. And if we go over to Amazon, it's $47.95. Of course, Amazon will give you free shipping. So, you're probably going to pay a little bit, above $47.95 plus whatever tax is. But on the website is going to be $29.95 plus shipping. I think shipping for the book is going to be like around either $7 or $8. So $29.95 plus $7 or $8, that's going to get you around 30. We'll just say $36, $37 total. So you're going to be under $40 for that hardcover book. So that's going to be at least $10 less on the website for ordering the hardcover book versus Amazon. Now, again, Amazon's going to get it out to you quick. It's going to get it out to you faster. And, if you're like me, you already have an Amazon account, you're comfortable ordering from Amazon, you can return stuff to Amazon 6 ways to Sunday, right? So I understand if you're comfortable going that route, that's perfect. That's great. Only thing I'll ask for your family is just to wait till Monday before you order, so that it has the latest revision. And really, the revision I'm talking about is in the prologue. Is very minor, just some punctuation errors that I found. The book actually has been to an editor twice, but the prologue on there was one of those things that was added in there after that, and unfortunately it had a couple of punctuation errors in there, and I didn't catch it until late, so my bad. My bad on that. But I tried to upload it. I uploaded it all in all the other places, but Amazon, they locked me out. Once it's scheduled for go live, as an author, you can't touch it. Like, they lock you out, and so I couldn't update it while Amazon was holding on to it. So it wasn't until recently that I had access to it. They opened it back up, uploaded the revision. Paperback book was taken care of, but the hardcover book is still in progress. So anyway, long story short, just know that it's in progress. But when it comes to the hardcover book, again, it's more expensive on Amazon, less expensive on the website. Amazon will get it out to you fast. Website is going to take time for them to print out the book and ship it out. And as far as, again, just make sure when you receive it, take a look at it, make sure it's not dinged or anything like that. Make sure you're happy with the product. You have 14 days to ship it back in, send it back in, whether it be through Amazon or the website. Just send me an email. Let's see here, contact information, and we'll have you send that back in. And if you want to swap it out, we'll swap it out or refund, that sort of thing. So that is pretty much it, family. And it's pretty straightforward as far as purchasing the book as well. There are different ways to pay for it. Of course, if you're like me, you got PayPal. You have a PayPal account. You can use PayPal. Super easy to do it that way. And you see these other options down there too. Let me just show you something real quick. Like, if I do paperback and I click on add to cart, and then let's see. So it gives you a few more options. You got GPay, PayPal, Venmo. I'm also adding Amazon Pay. So if you do have an Amazon account, you'll also be able to use Amazon to pay for it as well. If you're on the website, I recommend using either a tablet or a laptop, laptop, desktop, like a computer to do it. You can do it through the phone. It's just that the font is a little bit small until I can get that fixed. I mean, you can still order through the phone because you can actually use Google Apple Pay on there to pay for it. But I'm just from an aesthetic point of view, I think it just looks better when you do it via the website. But again, you can just click on checkout. The one thing I will tell you, family, is when you click on the button, other than, you can see the weight indicator there, but just make sure when you click on it, just wait for the screen to change. One thing I think what I'll do is, going forward, I'll add something like a bigger icon on the middle of the screen, just to let you know that the screen is waiting to change, that something is happening. Because sometimes you click on it, you think that nothing's happening, but it's actually processing it and just waiting to take you to the next screen. All right. And then the other thing, family, is when you go to checkout, you can see the checkout options here. Contact information. Make sure, I would recommend you put the email address in here, family. And the reason why I say that is because with this book, we're also going to ship out a reference guide. So, one of the places where this book will be available, it will be available to universities and libraries. Universities and libraries will be able to download these books or purchase the book, have it literally in their library. And what we've had people use our material or use the material from the videos literally in college institutions, for their history projects. And, praise be to the Most High, they literally received A's on their history projects when they presented this material, because they had the primary source information to back up what they were saying, which is, we are the children of Israel. In this case, family, what I want to do is, of course, the book has a bibliography, it has references in there, but what I want to do, I want to give you more references than are even in the book, and I want to give you the actual quotes. So in this reference guide that's going to come out, it's going to be in digital format, like a PDF. I want to be able to send it to you. So if you put your email address in here, when it's ready, I'll just, and of course, if you want to receive it, I'll just send it to your email address. And it'll be a reference guide, of everything that's in the book and more. So that's coming out. So like I said, if you get a chance, just put your email address in there. I will also, family, put a registration page on the website. So for those of you all who want to purchase it through Amazon, or any of these other bookstores, because it will, Barnes and Noble, all these other places, Walmart.com, Most High willing, it will be on those places as well. If you purchase it anywhere else, you should be able to come over to the website and register for that reference guide. So I'll let you know about that, family. Again, because what we want to do, we want to prove that this information is able to withstand even scrutiny within universities, because there's a ton of references behind all this information. It's not like we're making it up for the first time. No, this information has been out there for literally hundreds of years. This has been the established truth for hundreds of years. And this truth that the Israelites are not melanated people, this is a new revelation. It is a new paradigm shift, right? And so we want to show it to people that, hey, when you start saying stuff like that, you're talking about something new, right? You're talking about the remake of history. All right. So anyway, that'll come out. Just be on the lookout for that, and we'll get that reference guide out to you, and you can use it for whatever you want to use it for. And then, of course, the usual shipping address. You got USPS or UPS are the two shipping options. Also, a note here, family, is that literally where these books are being printed from is being printed from there's a printing location here in the United States, in Florida, and then there's a printing location in the UK. So in the UK, and what that means is that if you're in either the UK or the US and you ship, your shipping cost is going to be pretty reasonable. I know this is kind of, it's kind of high in my opinion, $7.42, but when you look at the shipping cost when it goes out of the country, of course it goes up significantly. So if you're ordering to other countries from the website, I'm just going to let you know your shipping cost may be, just take a look at it, because it may be significantly higher. Okay. All right. And then the other thing here, family, is that you also can pay using PayPal. We've talked about that, and Cash App, and some other options down there. And then, if you're kind of just noticing things like, man, Benign, why you got these weird characters over here? That's one trying to fix that, family. I'm not, I know why it's doing that, and we have to get that resolved. But that's just a defect on the website as far as those characters showing up in that place. But that is it, family, as far as ordering out. Again, let me know if you have any problems, any questions. And it says, how do we get the reference guide? Just kind of taking a look over my shoulder here at the chat. Yeah, we'll set up a registration form so that if you want to get the reference guide, all you have to do is just log into the website, and literally all you got to do is just put your name, whatever name you want to be called. You know how we are as Hebrews. We got government names and we have our Hebrew names. So whatever name you want to put in there, just put it in there, and just put an email address. That's only two things I'm gonna need. And then once I get that, family, we'll just add you to the list. And then whenever that reference guide comes out, we'll just send it out to you. So again, we want to make sure you have all the information to be able to substantiate every single point that's in this book. Hallelujah. All right, so that is that, and let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything on that front. Yeah, I think that's it, family. So it is live. And so again, just make sure that if you're looking for the paperback, you can get the paperback either from Amazon or from the website. Amazon is up to date. The book is up to date. So feel free to order that paperback today. You'll literally get it this week. Or if you want to order through the website, you can order through the website. Might be a slightly more for the paperback, but it is being printed by a book company. Like it's literally a book company. They're not like Amazon where they specialize in everything, where you can get things like from lawnmowers to bicycles to this to that. Like it's literally just a book company, and they specialize in just books. And so usually their quality is just a little bit better. But that's about it, family. And yeah, just looking forward to it, family. Let me show you a few other things before we sign off here. And I'll be watching the email and the chat as well throughout the day and actually throughout the week. Just to make sure all the orders are processing smoothly. And big shout out and appreciation to those who have already ordered through the website. I took a peek this morning, and it looks like, so the company that prints the book, they have received your request, and not only have they received your request, but your orders were automatically moved to printing status, which means that they are printing your book. So if you ordered over the weekend, Friday or whenever, your book is literally being printed. So praise be to the Most High for that. I was excited to see that. Like, man, they are on it. So I see a question in there. What is the website? So let me put the website in the chat again. Hang on. I probably should have pinned it to the chat. So it is Black History Case File. I'll put it in the comments section, and let me say website for book. Well, and I'll put that in the chat. And let me see here. And I'll pin this as well, family, in the chat once this live is over. And then let me also show you just a sneak peek of the other book I was telling you about. So let me do this. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here for a moment, and let me see if I can start sharing my PowerPoint presentation. Let me see if I can find it here. Hang on one second, family. Presenters view. Okay, let's try this. All right. So hopefully you can see that. Let me just confirm on my other screen. Okay, that looks good. All right. So, and let me pull up. Here we go. All right. So books out today, of course. And just a heads up. So this is the other book I was telling you about, family. So this is a booklet. It's called "Who Are the Biblical Israelites?" Of course, inspired by all the stuff that we've seen on social media and mainstream media, with Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, and the call that went out around the world and has people of all walks of life asking, who are the biblical Israelites? So if you're asking, all right, Benaya, so what's the difference between that book and this book? So this book, family, I look at it as a history book. This is a book for our community. Of course, anybody else who wants to purchase it, definitely encourage you to purchase it if you want to know the truth. But this is a history book. It actually goes from the beginning, the scattering and all that good stuff, and shows what happened during the transatlantic slave trade, connects all the dots, shows you why we are the people of the book, going through the transatlantic slave trade and stuff like that. Whereas this book is specifically designed to answer who are the biblical Israelites, and it's direct and to the point. And it uses, mainly focuses on artifacts. You actually see the artifact there on the cover, on the front and the back. And it's, I want to say, maybe it's a booklet, so it's really small, less than 100 pages, maybe like 70 pages or less than that. Still going through editing as we speak. So this should be available in a couple of weeks as well, family. Super cheap, and that's the main thing that I'm trying to make sure that these products are, family, I want to make sure that the prices are competitive, not only within our genre, but also across the board. Because sometimes when you look at our products, compared to other products, they may seem a little high. So I want to make sure that these products are right in line or even cheaper than, across the board for non-Israelite stuff. At least that's my personal goal. So you can best believe that when this comes out, it's going to be competitively priced, because it's going to be designed, family, so that this is going to be one of those books that you can hand it to people, right? Whereas, back in the day, at least for me, when we wanted to, try to convince people that we are the people of Israel, I would literally have to hand them a book that has like 400 pages in it or more. And the idea that the person receiving is going to take the time to go through 400 pages to pull out, that we are the people of the book, that might be a tall order. Instead, I'm thinking, family, that we need something that's short and directly to the point, right? Short, and they can read within a couple of pages, 2 or 3 pages in, they'll be like, oh, well, man, they might have something here, right? So this is that book. This is that book where, even if they get it and they kind of set it to the side, you won't get mad because you didn't spend a whole lot of money for it, few bucks, right? You got the book, it'll just be a seed sitting on their table, so that whenever they're bored and they open it up, they'll be like, oh man, well, they got some strong evidence here. So this is that book. So most high willing, this too will be out in a couple of weeks. And I think that's probably going to be it that I'm going to share on that front, family. But that's it, family. So any questions you have, let me just take a quick peek in the chat. Oh, praise be to the Most High. Will be buying for myself and my family. Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you, family. And also any feedback you have whatsoever, as far as ways to improve it. If you're looking through the book and if you notice any errors or anything like that, just send me an email as well, because I am literally able to update the book. I can't update the copy that you have, but for people going forward, I can make those corrections so that anybody, that purchases the book afterwards, we can make the corrections so that, their book will be just a little bit better. All right. Well, I think that's it, family. Like I said, I'll keep an eye on the email in the chat. So if you have any questions, just let me know. And I guess with that, enjoy the rest of your evening. And I tell you what, since today is just one of those just epic days, family, because this is one of those days where at least, for the Hidden Hebrew series, family, we've kind of moved from the video realm over to the book realm. And I think is the timing is important because, of course, with the advent of AI, artificial intelligence, and all this monitoring, they're monitoring everything, family, from our phones to the watches we wear on our wrists, to the computers, the web browsers. This AI is always watching. But one thing they can't watch, family, is you reading that book. Praise be to the Most High. That's just something that's off the radar for them. It's almost like going back to the basics. And I believe it's going to mess them up. This is my opinion. I think the counter to AI is a book. The counter to monitoring this monitoring and all this other stuff is going to be the book. It's going to be the stuff that's basic, right? Just going back to our roots. So anyway, but that's it, family. Let me what I'll leave you with, family, is just a couple of videos. Just kind of revisit some of the Hidden Hebrew stuff that we've visited over time. And the first one that I'm going to show you is, of course, when we came out of Egypt. Actually, you know what? Let me start off with the Egyptian bondage, because before we had Deuteronomy 28, before we were at the foot of the burning mountain in Mount Sinai, we were in Egypt. So let me, play. This is one of those old Hidden Hebrews videos about us in Egypt. Check this out, family.
Humankind was created in Africa and dispersed from there to occupy most of the lands on earth. We will begin our story with the observance of Father Abraham as he and his family left the civilization of Ur through the Promised Land and into Egypt. We witnessed him receiving promises from the Almighty that he would have many descendants, that they would be a blessing to the world, and that they would be given a promised land. Abraham also sees the visions of his children's enslavement and affliction for 400 years in the distant future. It will take place in a land that will be unfamiliar to them. Abraham has Isaac, Isaac has Jacob. Jacob is renamed Israel, and his descendants become enslaved in Egypt.
Our journey continues with Moses, who bear the instructions of Yahweh. To lead the children of Israel out of Egypt and into the bond of the covenant. At the foot of a burning mountain, and embark on a 40-year journey to the Promised Land. However, the children of Israel did not uphold their part of the covenant, forgetting the great signs and wonders Father Yah wrought before their very eyes. And so Israel began to practice the ways of the heathen who were round about them, and as a result fell to the judgments of a great and jealous Elohim, who would give Israel over to her enemies to conquer and rule over them with a rod of iron. The Assyrians, the Persians, the Medes, Babylon, Greece, and Rome. And in the passing of time, a Messiah was born, a Redeemer made flesh, born of a virgin. The Messiah would give sight to the blind, make the lame walk, cause the lepers to be cleansed, the deaf to hear, raise the dead, and preach the good news to the poor. Indeed, the Messiah had come for his people, Israel, to trade his life for theirs, so that they could be redeemed. What greater love is there than this, than to lay down one's life for another, for his people? And before departing this world, Hamashiach, or the Messiah, foretold of a great captivity, a great slavery in which the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem would be sold unto their enemies and scattered to the four corners of the earth. Luke chapter 21 verse 24 reads, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations." And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the times of the Gentiles be fulfilled. And Jerusalem would indeed fall in the year 70 AD under the might of General Titus, who would breach the foreboding walls and towers protecting Jerusalem, carrying away the good and precious things of the Most High Yah, and laying waste and plunder to his people, the house of Judah. However, not all the children of the house of Judah were captured or killed by the onslaught of the Roman army. Some Israelites escaped deep into Africa and southern Saudi Arabia. These wandering fugitives of Rome would find temporary reprieve from Rome's iron grip. However, it was only a matter of time before the descendants of Rome would track down, capture, and enslave the children of the house of Judah and send them as slaves to the four corners of the earth.
All right. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's buffering on your end, but it's keeps buffering on my screen. So hopefully it's not buffering for you guys. But yeah, that was so when we look across like the all the different hidden Hebrews videos that we had out there, you know, of course, one of the ones we did, and this is big shout out to Sister Pat Snipes. You know, she's her and her company. They're oh, no buffering. Okay, hallelujah. But Sister Pat Snipes, she was you know, they're actually trying to put together a museum for Israelites. You know, to tell our history through museums, and you know, we kind of partner with Sister Pat to come up with this video that you just saw. But that video talked about Israel, you know, in Egypt, you know, coming out of Egypt, and of course, you know, you follow the you know, the path that our forefathers took coming out of Egypt, came out of Egypt, crossed the Red Sea, and you know, wandered through the wilderness, get to the foot of Mount Sinai, and of course, once we get to the foot of Mount Sinai, we enter into the bondage of the covenant, and this is, you know, when we talk about the covenant, you know, you can talk about Deuteronomy 28. The blessings and the curse, right? The blessings and the curses. And of course, you know, the blessings, if we do, you know, what the Most High told us to do, and the curses, if we didn't do what the Most High told us to do. And this is just a little bit of the blessings and the curses.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy ground, and the fruit of thy cattle, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be the basket and thy store. Blessed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and blessed shalt thou be when thou goest out. And Yahuwah shall cause thine enemies that rise up against thee to be smitten before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and flee from before thee 7 ways. And Yahuwah shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all thou settest thine hand unto. And he shall bless thee in the land which Yahuwah thy Elohim giveth thee. And Yahuwah shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he has sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahuwah thy Elohim, and walk in his ways. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahuwah, and they shall be afraid. And Yahuwah shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which Yahuwah sware unto thy fathers to give thee. And Yahuwah shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven to give the rain unto the land in his possession, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And Yahuwah shall make thee the head and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath, if that thou hearken unto the commandments of Yahuwah thou Elohim, which I command thee this day, to observe them and to do them. And thou shalt not go aside from any of these words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods, to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. And cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. And Yahuwah shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until thou be destroyed, until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings whereby thou hast forsaken me. Yahuwah shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee, until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it. Yahuwah shall smite thee with consumption, and with fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. And the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. Yahuwah shall make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven shall it come down upon thee, until thou be destroyed. Yahuwah shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed unto all the kingdoms of the earth. And thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beast of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. And Yahuwah shall smite thee with the botch of Egypt, and with the emerods, and with the scab, and with the itch whereof thou cannot be healed. And Yahuwah shall smite thee with madness and blindness, and astonishment of heart. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness. And thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed, and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, but another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. And thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. And thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken from before thy face, and shall not be restored unto thee. Thy sheep shall be given unto thine enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thine hand. The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt be only oppressed and crushed always. So that thou shalt be mad for the sight of thine eyes, and thou shalt see. And Yahuwah shall smite thee in the knees, in the legs, with a sore botch that cannot be healed. From the sole of thy feet unto the top of thy head, Yahuwah shall bring thee, and thy king which thou hast set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. And there shalt thou serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all the nations whither Yahuwah shall lead thee. And thou shalt carry much seed out unto the field, and shalt gather but little, for the locust shall consume it. Thou shalt plant vineyards and dress them, but shalt neither drink of the wine nor gather the grapes, for the worms shall eat it. Thou shalt have olive trees throughout all the coasts, but thou shalt not anoint themselves with the oil, for thine olive hath cast his fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they shall go into captivity. All the trees and the fruit of thy land shall the locust consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed. Because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. Because thou servest not Yahuwah thy Elohim with joyfulness, and with gladness of heart, and for the abundance of all things. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahuwah shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck, until he have destroyed thee. Yahuwah shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of old, nor show favor to the young. He shall eat the fruit of thy cattle and the fruit of thy land until thou be destroyed. Which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thy kine, or flocks of thy sheep, until he have destroyed thee. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, until thy high and fenced walls come down, wherein thou trustest, throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout all the land, which Yahuwah thy Elohim has given thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, and the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which Yahuwah thy Elohim have given thee, in the siege and in the straitness wherein thine enemies shall distress thee, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil towards his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children which he shall leave, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children whom he shall eat, because he hath nothing left him in the siege, and in the straitness wherein thine enemies shall distress thee in all thy gates. The tender and the delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her feet upon the ground for the delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter, and toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet, and toward her children which she shall bear. For she shall eat them for want of all things, secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. If thou wilt not observe to do all the words of this law that are written in this book, that thou mayest fear this glorious and fearful name, Yahuwah thy Elohim, then Yahuwah will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of long countenance, and sore sickness, and of long countenance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will Yahuwah bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. And you shall be left few in number, whereas you were as the stars of heaven for multitude, because thou wouldest not obey the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim. And it shall come to pass that as Yahuwah rejoiced over you to do good and to multiply you, so Yahuwah will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught, and you shall be plucked from off the land, whither you goest to possess it. And Yahuwah shall scatter you among all the people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. And there shalt thou serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, Neither shall the sole of your feet have rest, but Yahuwah shall give thee there a trembling heart, and failing of eyes, and sorrow of mind. And thy life shall hang in doubt before thee, and thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, with Yahuwah it were even, and at even thou shalt say, with Yahuwah it were morning. For the fear of thine heart wherein thou shalt fear, and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And Yahuwah shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, that thou shalt see it no more again. There you will be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and for bondwomen, and no man shall redeem you.
Yeah, I totally agree. All the information that's out there, why people can't see that we aren't the people of the book, it is baffling. It is baffling, and that is, of course, that's if they actually get the the information that we have access to. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not sure if they're even aware of all this abundance of information that's out there in these institutions of higher learning, that speak with a single voice that we are the people of the book. That the Israelites aren't European looking people, that the Israelites are dark skinned melanated people, with woolly hair and all, just a treasure trove of evidence out there to prove the fact. So you're absolutely right. Totally agree with you 110% on that one. So, but yeah, family. But if you got a chance to check out those two videos, of course, we showed the video about Egypt in bondage, of course, coming out of Egypt. I mean, this is our history, family. In bondage in Egypt, coming out of Egypt, entering into the bond of the covenant with the Most High at the foot of the burning mountain in Mount Sinai, and the blood was sprinkled on us, on our forefathers, and that's when we entered into the covenant. And this is where we entered into the covenant, and of course, unfortunately, our forefathers did not keep the covenant, and we did not keep our part of the bargain. And unfortunately, all the things that the curses fell upon us. In the Deuteronomy 28, this is what that previous video was. It was basically a rereading of Deuteronomy 28. Of course, the blessings, which is pretty short, and then the curses, which goes on for many, many pages. Which if we one of the arguments that we put forward is that there's only one people on planet Earth that fits all the curses, right? Even Hamashiach, in what folks call the New Testament, where he said that he prophesied that the children of Israel, or the children of the house of Judah, would go into captivity into all the nations upon the earth in captivity. And there's only one people on the face of the earth that have gone into captivity into all the nations of the earth. Hallelujah. So it's amazing, family, how even with all that information, that people still don't recognize us as being Israel. But of course, one of the things they used to say was, well, you guys are using just the scriptures. That's just your interpretation. But then, of course, once we started coming out with all of these, books, references showing that it's not some sort of new revelation, it's not something that came out with Crowdy. That was one of the things that the I want to say that the Christian community, and it's not the Christian community as a whole, just some of them were saying things like, well, yeah, it came out in the late to mid 1900s with Crowdy. And that was so way off, family. That was so false. It's like, you kind of wonder where people are getting their information from, and they're all drinking from the same foul pool, foul water fountain. And they were just getting bad information after bad information after bad information. And in fact, our history went back way further than the 1900s. It went back way further than the 1800s, way further than the 1700s. And this is when we were able to show reference after reference after reference where the Israelites before that time were dark skinned. The Israelites before that time were understood to be dark skinned, that the idea of them being a white European people was a foreign thought. And, and praise be to the Most High, we, have all these references and wrote all these references out. And then over time that the pushback changed, right? What they people say things like the goalpost, they moved the goalpost. At first it was like, you guys don't have any evidence. And then of course we came out with the evidence, all these old books that was in these college libraries, even in seminary schools. I remember one of the books I wanted to read was, not only was it in a college libraries across the country, but it was also in seminary schools. And I thought, well, wait a minute, if it's in seminary schools, well, shouldn't these pastors know about it? And I got that question answered when I saw Perry Stone. He was on one of his lives or one of his broadcasts, and he actually mentioned the book. And then he told his audience not to read the book. I was like, oh, okay. He knows the truth, but he's not going to, he doesn't want to share it, that sort of thing. But that's the thing about it, family. So all these books and information that came out, and then of course the argument and the pushback that we got after a while was that, well, okay, well, maybe some of the people were Israelites that was caught up in the transatlantic slave trade, but not all the people were Israelites. So, but here's the problem with that, family. And that's why even by them falling back just a little bit and moving that goalpost just a little bit, they may not have realized it, family, but it was checkmate from the beginning. It was checkmate from the beginning because, the unique characteristic of all the people, especially here in the States, I'm broadcasting from the US, but here in the States, all the, so-called African Americans, we have a unique trait, family. And the unique trait is that our DNA, when it comes to, when they look at people's DNA, family, especially on the males' DNA, they call it the Y chromosome, which is passed from father to son to son to son. And it changes very little over time. That this Y haplogroup, what they've done, family, is that they group people. They've taken a look at that and they said that, well, hey, they started creating these things called haplogroups. And so the various groups of people, haplogroups, that they assign people to, it varies across the world. Even in Africa, Africa is considered one of the most diverse places on the planet, family. On the planet, you look at Africa, and people are amazed at how many different haplogroups are in Africa. But the thing about the transatlantic slave trade, one of the things that we brought out earlier was, we would expect, like, if slavery was random, and the slave traders would go into the interior of Africa and randomly, drag people, capture people, enslave them, bring them to the West Coast, stuff them on ships, send them across the transatlantic slave trade. If it was truly random, the DNA makeup, the haplogroup of the males within those ships should have reflected a random DNA haplogroup. It should have been, DNA from all the various DNA groups within Africa. But instead, what we found was that, family, the DNA group that of the people that were the byproduct of those that were on the transatlantic slave trade were overwhelmingly from one haplogroup. One haplogroup. You might be saying, well, Benaiah, then, well, why was there, this mix of DNA? And the reason for that, family, has to do with, of course, We know one of the unfortunate tragedies of the transatlantic slave trade was rape. A lot of our sisters, our mothers, were unfortunately raped by the captors in the transatlantic slave trade, and the byproduct of that was an infusion of their DNA into the African American, DNA, or not just the African American DNA, all the so-called Negro DNA across the world. So we have this infusion of DNA, and the thing is, family, is that DNA, or with DNA, family, we are able to trace two things. One is we're able to trace who committed the crime of rape. Why? Because their DNA was infused. It is into the African American or diaspora DNA. It is still infused within our DNA today. So we know who did it. So that when people say things like, "Well, we don't know who," it wasn't us when it comes to who were the slave masters. It wasn't us when it came to who was burning people, burning people, on on these trees and stuff at picnics or whatnot, who was cutting off limbs and whipping and raping and all this other stuff, who was unaliving. People were saying it wasn't us. Well, the DNA doesn't lie. Like DNA in the court of law, usually that's like the final nail in a coffin when it comes to crimes and stuff like that. When presenting the evidence, when you have DNA evidence, oh, it's a lock. It's done. So same thing with our, when it comes to our history, we know who did it. Why? Because we just look at the DNA. What DNA is infused in the diaspora DNA? And the DNA is, one, it's European DNA. And then two, the DNA that is infused is DNA that traces back to the Caucasus Mountains. R1B1A. J2 or something like that. Those are the DNA that traces back to the Caucasus Mountains. Those are the DNA that even to this very day is infused in the African American DNA today. In addition to that, family, we know what groups today have R1B1A or J2 DNA, right? We know who it is, right? So they can't say that, well, it wasn't us that was in the DNA or that was in the transatlantic slave trade. Oh, you're being anti-Semitic or something like that. No, your DNA says something to the DNA says something to the contrary. But to that end, family, so that's one side, right? One part of DNA is that we know we can use DNA to show who played a part in the transatlantic slave trade as the slave captors. But then we can also take a look at the DNA of the people that were impacted by it, right? Who were enslaved by it, to see we found a couple of profound things. One is, like I told you before, with Africa being one of the most diverse DNAs on planet Earth, we should have seen a diverse DNA over here in the States, a diverse DNA of the captives over in the Brazils, over in Jamaica, Haiti, right? All over the place, Barbados, all over the place. But instead, we found one DNA group. And when you, I call it normalizing the data, but I say when you adjust the DNA groups by, let's take, for instance, like here in the US, let's take a look at all the DNA groups of the so-called African Americans here in the States, and let's take out the DNA of the slave captors. So we'll take out the R1B1As, we'll take out the J2s, right? And I believe I forgot the other haplogroup, but if we take all those DNA groups out of the slave captors, right? The ones that put us in bondage, if we took them out of the pool of DNA here in the States, then we took a look at the remaining pool of African American or diaspora DNA. We are left with a percentage of roughly of greater than 85% of the people here in the States, that are the victims of the diaspora, here in the States, being one people. So over 85% of us are of one haplogroup, which in itself should have been impossible. which if the narrative that when we came over to the States that it was just like they were telling us, family, like it was just a random dog eat dog world over in Africa, over in the continent, and people were just randomly getting snatched, randomly getting thrown on the slave ships. But that's not what we see in our DNA. In our DNA here, family, we are one people, over 85%. And think about how amazing that is, even to this day, family, where we still have planes. People can get on planes and off planes. And, even to this day, I used to work when I was in college. One of my summertime / jobs was I used to work as security at the airport. Here in Atlanta, we have Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. It's one of the busiest airports in the world. And one of the things I was amazed at was how many people actually got on slave ship, or not slave ships, how many people got on those airplanes and off of airplanes. You would be amazed at the amount of people that were moving in and out constantly every day, whether it be early in the morning, late at night, constantly moving, people constantly getting on and off planes. And I was like, man, even with the movement of all these people, even today, it's still 85% of the people here in the States were one people. So this notion of Israel, or of just a few people being on the slave ships, being Israel, that doesn't hold water. Why? Because we are overwhelmingly one haplogroup here in the States, which means that if one is considered Israel, then we're all Israel. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you admit that one of us is Israel, then that means that all of us is Israel. Hallelujah. Praise be to the Most High. So that was just, it was just one of those things, family, where once people, the naysayers kind of retreated back to that stance, they were in trouble. They were in trouble because maybe they weren't thinking, kind of like chess, right? You weren't thinking like, 5 or 6, moves down the road. But, as soon as they fell back, family, we already knew it was like, okay, y'all done on that one, because the DNA alone is going to just prove that we're all one people, and that the transatlantic slave trade, it was a targeted effort, not a random effort, was a targeted effort. And this is when, and praise be to the Most High, this is covered in the book, family, where, I talk about how the transatlantic slave trade wasn't random, that it was a targeted initiative that was sanctioned by both the state, the nation state, what I'll call Spain and Portugal. It was sanctioned by them. It was also sanctioned, of course, by papal decrees. But the sanctioning and the laws that went in place to implement it was against the Israelites. And this is one of those common sense things, family, where in hindsight, when we were, we kind of look back across all the the lessons and the literature that we were being taught to teach us our history, whether it be in elementary school, middle school, or high school, not one time were we given the laws of this transatlantic slave trade. Not one time did they read to us the actual law that governed the transatlantic slave trade. That should have been one of the very first things that was read to us when it came to our history. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't you read the law that actually controlled, that governed the transatlantic slave trade? And so that's one of the things that's in this, in the book, is that we talk about the Manuelian Ordinance, and how the Manuelian Ordinance was an ordinance. It was understood at, during the time, that it was a law that was written specifically for the children of Israel. Nobody else. It was specifically targeted for the children of Israel. Nobody disputed it. Like back then, during the time, like nobody disputed it. There was no ambiguity as to who it applied to and stuff like that. They knew that it was for the children of Israel. And not only that, family, when we took a look at the law, at the Manuelian Ordinance, and actually went back to the law, one of the things I did was that I said, well, how many of these laws talk about the west coast of Africa? And we looked, it was only 2 laws. And I said, all right, so out of these 2 laws that are in the Manuelian Ordinance, how many of those laws talk about slavery? There was only 1 law. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's interesting. But then then I took a look at that one law out of all the Manuelian ordinances that talked about slaves and the west coast of Africa and how to get slaves and stuff like that. The one law, it was, first of all, it was in book 5, if I remember correctly, book 5, title 112. For whatever reason, they always stick that 12 in there somewhere. But book 5, title 112, and title 112, family, was a law. Not only did it talk about the slaves, people, it authorizing people to get their slaves from the west coast of Africa. The other thing that preceded that part of the law that told people to get their slaves from the west coast of Africa is that it also, for the very first time, of course, it authorized the people, slaves directly from the west coast of Africa over into the New World. But it was a law against the Israelites. And this is one of the things, family, that in my opinion, I believe that when Most High was, praise be to the Most High for allowing us to bring it out, that when that truth was revealed, family, I thought that was in my opinion, one of the greatest revelations of all times for the so-called Black / African / Negro Israelite community here in the States and abroad. And that is the fact that the law that governed the transatlantic slave trade was a law against the Israelites, not random Africans, but against the Israelites. And even to this day, family, if you were to take an interpreter that is, I would recommend them being versed in ancient Portuguese language, because the professor that we work with, she said that make sure you're working with a person that is versed in ancient Portuguese language, because she said that there are nuances in the old language that are not present in the new. But so if you got somebody new trying to interpret the old and they're not familiar with the old, they might make some errors. And the other thing that, lesson learned for me, family, as I, worked through the process of interpreting the Manuelian ordinance, and that is that you want a word for word translation, not an interpretation. You want a word for word translation and not an interpretation. And the reason why I say that, family, is that an interpretation goes like this. You ever watch one of those old, kung fu flicks or Japanese flicks or something where the person is talking to in a foreign language and you have no clue what they're saying, and they're going for 5 minutes, and then he's finished talking and he looks at the interpreter, and then the interpreter, you look at the interpreter, it's like, all right, so what did he say? And the interpreter says, oh, basically he said, go downstairs. He's like, but he was talking for like 5 minutes, and you just gave me something. You gave me words, that took like less than 20 seconds. What are you leaving out, family? What he's giving you, or what he gave you, was a translation. I'm sorry, what he gave you was an interpretation. But what you want is a translation, a word for word translation. And this is one of the things when we went through the exercise of translating the Manuelian ordinance, I had to constantly go back and forth with the translators and say, hey, I might not be the most versed in Portuguese language or Spanish language, but I've taken enough, Spanish language, and Spanish is similar to Portuguese, that I can recognize some words. And I didn't tell them this, up front, but I just, I can recognize those words that I can look at and read, some Spanish, some Portuguese. And as I read it and I handed it to them, I was like, all right, interpret that for me. And they handed it back. And those phrases that I knew was there was missing. And I said, thank you for interpreting and taking my money. But first of all, certain they would, in the Manuelian ordinance, it would actually list places like Elmina. Like Elmina is one of those castles or places where the slaves were held. And so when they would hand me back the translation / interpretation, it wouldn't even have Elmina in it. I was like, first of all, it doesn't have Elmina in it. So, and second of all, it doesn't have the word slave in it. Third of all, it doesn't have the word chains in it, because right here it says slaves, right here it says chains. And when you gave me back this interpretation, this translation, you didn't have any of that stuff in it. So, okay. Well, we'll go back and take a look at it. I'll go back to the translator. So they go and do their stuff again. They send it back. and then I have the stuff in there. So I constantly had to keep him honest on that front. So that's one of the things, family. If you ever try to reproduce what I've shown in the book, make sure you're using a word for word translation and not an interpretation. That's key. So in any case, family, like that's in the book. I do have some of that in the book as well, and also family. Of course, there's some new material in there that has to do with we talked about on Friday, what we call the heraldry of the Negroes, the heraldry of the Prince of King David. So the Negroes over in Spain, they were the Yayas. They changed their names to the Negroes. They are literally the princes of King David. They were literally the leaders of all the diaspora, like the ones that when the diaspora was scattered, in 70 AD, when they were scattered in 1492 by Spain, there was a head, a head, how can I put it? Prince, family, people that were over them, that were the leaders, right? And that was the Yaya Negroes. And, of course, we already talked about over the years about, the information as far as who they were, where they went to, and things of that nature. But in this book, family, we do take it a little bit further. And I also show you the heraldry, the symbols. They actually literally had symbols that whenever, back in the day, they had family crests. And they talk about the Yaya Negroes. They were over, of course, in Spain and Portugal, but they were also known very well over in Italy. And that when they went over in Italy, they also had a sign. They also had a crest. And this is one of the things I went over on Friday, was I showed you the crest of, one of the crests of the Negroes over in Spain. And one of the things that I showed you was the Negroes on their crests, they had I was calling it a bandana on Friday, but it's more like a headband, right? Kind of looks like a headband. On the pictures, it looks white, but it's really silver. It's like a white, silvery headband, and that is a sign of nobility. And in some of these other heraldry crests, family crests, you can see that it is actually a sign of nobility. There's no question in some of the other ones about what it means. It is a sign of nobility. But we go over that in the book as well, family, as well as some other stuff. So definitely, family, if you get a chance, definitely, get the book. Praise be to the Most High. Hopefully the book will be out for a while. If you're not able to get it this week, just at some point in time, whenever you're able to get it, definitely I would recommend getting it. The paperback book, I believe, is at a great price point. Just wanted to make sure that it was competitive across the board, whether it be an Israelite book or any other book. Like if you go to Amazon and you just Google and you just do a search for books in general, right? Just wanted to make sure that the book was competitive across the board, so that even if you try to share it with family and friends, that they wouldn't balk at the price of the book. Like, man, why your books cost so much? So just wanted to make sure, didn't want it to be a hindrance for anyone trying to get the truth, like anyone trying to get the information. So that's out there, family. And like I also said, there is a second book. It is actually a booklet. Most High willing, it will be out within a couple of weeks. And the difference between this booklet that's coming out versus what's already, what's been released today. I look at today's book as a history book. This is a book primarily for we Israel. And it's a book, for us. It has our history in it from start to finish. And, that's something that, you can have for yourself, over time. If you want to get it for family and friends, definitely grab a copy for family and friends, that sort of thing. Gift it to them if you want. But the second book, family, this is more for them, the other people. And you might be saying, well, Benaiah, who's them? Well, them is going to be, whether it be your own people of your own family, or, other folks that may have questions about the validity of us being Israel. They don't want to read a 200-something page book. They don't want to read a 400-something page book. They don't want to read a workbook. They just want something short and to the point. And that is what this other book is. And actually, let me see if I still got it pulled up. I may have, yeah, I closed it out. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick, family, just so that I can show you before we hop off here. Bear with me just for a second. I'm just going to pull up my PowerPoint and just want to show you this this second book, Most High Willing, that should be out in a couple of weeks. It's actually going through editing as we speak. Shout out to our editor doing an outstanding job on that. Peace and blessings to Maura Kelly on that, doing an awesome job, and family. And let me show this to you, family. So this is, let me make sure it's showing properly on the screen. Yeah, there we go. And so, of course, that's today's book that's out there. It's a history book. It's for us, family, by us, for us, and anyone else that wants to know the real truth of who we are, where we came from. This is a history, family. And it's kind of funny, family, because whenever in the past, family, whenever it came to the question was, well, why do, and I'm going to use their terms, why do these Black Hebrew Israelites think that they're the people of the book? And then it's funny, you will see this Caucasian person sitting up there answering the question of why we think who we are. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it to me, like that never made sense. Like, to me, like, if you wanted to know the history of Japan, like the real history of Japan, I'm like, ask somebody from Japan. Go and find a Japanese person and ask them, right? Or if you want to know the history of Russia, go talk to somebody that lived, forever and ever in Russia, and ask them the question. On down the road, down the line. But when it came to, what they call Black Hebrew Israelites, all right, so what are these Black Hebrew Israelites? And it's this Caucasian dude. I couldn't understand that, family. I couldn't understand that. To me, that was an obvious common sense error. Common sense error. If you want to know what we think, what we believe, you need to ask somebody of in the assembly, not outside with their nose pressed against the glass on the window, trying to interpret and figure out what's going on inside. No, family. So this is that book, family. This is the book written for us, written by us, for us, and anybody else that wants to know the actual truth. No, this isn't something that starts off in 1900s or the 1800s. So anytime you hear or read any books that try to say something about, Israelites starting in the 1900s or 1800s, that's all garbage. It is all liquid garbage, family. So this is our book, and it goes way back, and we have a lot of history, a lot of books to support it. So that's this book, family. The other book I was telling you about, that book that's short and to the point, is this one. It's called Who Are the Biblical Israelites? So Most High Willing, this one will also be out in Amazon, as well as the website. Should be cheaper than the paperback. Well, will be cheaper than the paperback. Most High Willing. So again, the purpose of this book, for those that want something very quick and to the point, they don't want to read a 200 something page book just to find out that we the people. They want they want something in a few pages, like within 2 or 3 pages, the point is made, and then the rest of the pages kind of just backs up that first 3 pages. Like, this is it. This is that book, family. And so they won't be able to give you any excuses like, man, I didn't have time to read it. Oh, why you got to give me this thick book? Oh, why, none of that stuff, family. Short and to the point. Hey, check out this book. There you go. And they can't complain about the price. Most High Willing will see it'll probably be under $10 or whatever. Get that book, and they'll be done. Question answered. And the next time they talk to you, they'll be like, you know what? You might have a point there. You might have a point. Then, of course, they're going to talk about, and of course, they might start talking to you about it. Don't matter. All right. So what's your Israel? And that's when you start talking to them about prophecy. Well, if you're Israel, then you got some prophecies coming up. You got some prophecies that's due that only you can fulfill. And of course, Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, they got this whole thing wrong about if you bless Israel, blessing curses and all that other stuff when they was looking at Genesis. But the one thing that is true for Israel, family, for those that do end up persecuting Israel, the pattern that's in the scriptures is that those nations that put their hands on Israel Most High does judge them. He does and will judge them. So if you want to know who the real Israelites are, so that you're not leaping hot coals upon you and your family, they're going to want to get this one. They want to get this book as well. So, like I said, family, just look out for, I'll do another announcement when this one is available in Amazon and website and all these other ones as well, all the other distributors as well. So, most high willing, this will come out soon as well. But that is it, family. I will hop off here and then go back into the website, because as you guys are browsing, like I was saying earlier, if you'll see that little chat icon off to the right. If you click on there, we might have to do some more testing on that, because I did see somebody saying that they got an error message when they tried to chat with me, but I think I may have been talking. I didn't see it. So that might be why you got the error message. But if you have any problems whatsoever, if you're on the website, and let me just grab the website one more time, put it in the chat. Hang on one second, family. So I'm going to put this website in the chat. So, of course, like we said before, for those who just joined, you can purchase the book from this website, or you can purchase it from Amazon. On Amazon, like I said, the difference between ordering it on Amazon versus ordering it from from my website is Amazon, you will get this book super fast. And let me see if I can pull that up to show you. Let me stop sharing, and let me see if hopefully it doesn't mess up, family. Sometimes it lets me share my web browser. Sometimes it doesn't. Okay, it's going to work. All right, so let's check it out, family. So if you order, from the website, it usually takes about a week to print. So literally, when you order it, is going to go to a company. It's a company that their specialty is books. Like all they do is books. They don't do a whole lot of other stuff. They just focus on books. They're obsessed with books, so they take their time in doing it. So when you pay for it, it literally goes to printing. I can actually see that on my side. So if you have any questions as far as what stage your order is, feel free to send me an email. If you want to send me an email, go to the website, go to contact, click on the contact page, and then here are the different ways you can contact us, contact me, send an email. You can either send an email to support at blackhistorycasefiles.com, and definitely we'll try to get to you, respond to you within 24 hours. If it's on the weekend, of course, Shabbat day, definitely won't be working on Shabbat day, but any other day, family, we'll try to get back to you within 24 hours. Of course, there's a live chat as well when we're online. Try to be online during business hours, or you can use this web form. You can just go on here, put your name, email address, and whatever message or issue or whatever you want to chat about, click on send, and that too will go to the email address. So that's a good way to contact us if you have any questions. And again, when you order through the website, it's going to take at least a week before to print, and then after it prints, then it's going to get shipped out to you. Versus on Amazon, and of course on the website, the prices. Oh, I'm sorry, forgot to tell you that on the website the prices are a little bit different. The prices on the website, the paperback book starts off at $19.95, or the paperback book is $19.95. The hard cover book is $29.95. So you see it there on the screen. Versus if you go to Amazon, so let's say, remember, $19.95 for the paperback, $29.95 for the hardcover on the website. But if you go over to Amazon, it's going to be $24.95 for the paperback and $47.95 for the hardcover. The difference is, family, if you have Amazon Prime, you will not have to pay for shipping. So that $24.95, all you have to do is pay for whatever tax and charge, additional Amazon fees, and that book will get out to you really fast. Like if you look at my screen, family, it says free delivery by Saturday or even by Thursday. Like if you want it super fast, by Thursday. So Amazon, hats off to Amazon, man. I don't know how they print this thing out so fast, but they are printing it out fast. So they're going to get it out to you before the end of the week. But just be mindful, family. Like I said, the only complaint I've seen when reading the reviews about Amazon book printing is that because they get stuff out so quick, sometimes, not all the times, but just sometimes, some of the graphics might be a little off. Like if the book cover, the graphics on the book cover might be a little off, that sort of thing. But it's not really not if it's not a big deal for you. Some people aren't as obsessed with perfect alignment on book covers and stuff. I say go ahead and order from Amazon. For today, I would say just order the paperback. Don't order the hardcover. If you're on Amazon, just order the paperback. The paperback has the latest revisions. Is totally up to date. Everything's good. The hardcover, I haven't gotten the notification from Amazon that the hardcover is up to date, so I would hold off on that. There's just some slight, I'd say, punctuation updates in the prologue that's missing from the hardcover. Yes, the book has been through an editor. It's actually been through an editor twice. However, even going through the editor, I'm sure there's some stuff that may have been missed. So, feel free to send me an email and so I can make a note of it, and I might be able to do another revision at a later date for new customers. So. But that's it on Amazon, family. Those are the differences. Just order the paperback, hold off on the hardcover. If you have Amazon Prime, you'll get this thing really fast. You'll get it this week. If you order on the website, it will take you at least a week to print it out. And then after a week, they'll ship it out to you. And of course, on the website, you can use, just like Amazon, you can use PayPal. What was PayPal? Let's go to the shopping cart. And Cash App, and I'm in the process of adding what is it? Amazon Pay. Yeah, Amazon Pay is another pay payment method. So Amazon Pay, Most High Willing, will show up here as far as one of your checkout options. And then also just remember, family, if you're using the website, put in your email address, because what I'm going to do, family, is send out a reference guide. So the book has a bibliography, but what I want to do, family, is supplement that using a reference guide. The reference guide, Most High Willing, will have more references that's in the bibliography, and it will actually have the quotes. It'll have the quotes, the fully qualified MLA citation, and like I said, should be more than what's in the book. And the purpose of that, family, is for those of you all who want to be able to defend your position against even folks in the institutions of higher learning, because we have had people use our material in institutions of higher learning, as in colleges. They've used it in their reports, and they were able to get great grades because they were able to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, using primary sources, that the information is certified, validated, and that we are the people of the book. Praise the Most High. So be sure to put that in there for those of you all that are ordering through the website. For those of you all who are ordering either through Amazon or through Barnes & Noble or Walmart.com, what I'll do, family, just give me a few days. I will introduce a registration page. Actually, you know what, family? Just use if you don't mind, just use the My Account page, because you can actually set up an account on the website. And when you set up your account, it's actually going to have your email address. So if you do it that way, then I don't have to set up an extra page. Yeah. So just do that, family. Just set up an account, put a username, password, and then, you see it right here, email address, register. That's all you got to do. Just put an email address, register, and then you're all set, so that whenever that digital reference guide comes out, I'll be able to email it to you. And it is a digital, family. It's not like an actual hardcover print. It's not print. It's a digital, like a PDF that will come out. So just be on the lookout for that. All right. Well, that is it. Some strange conversations going on in the chat. Well, apologize for that, fam. I can't watch. I forgot to add email. I got you, Sister Saul. Ema Saul. I got you. Yeah. We'll get the reference guide out to you for sure. Yeah, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. But that is it, family. Again, thanks for tuning in. And yep, this is the next phase of communicating with the advent of AI and all this monitoring that they're doing through the phones and the watches and the computers and all this other stuff. The way that we get around that, family, is to go old school. Get you a book. Get you a book, family. And you won't have Chat GPT or any of these other tools that they use to try to sow disinformation. Because at first Chat GPT used to be pure in that they didn't have a lot of in my opinion, they didn't have a lot of controls put into it. But once we started publishing that, well, hey, Chat GPT says it wants to be black. Hey, Chat GPT says we the people of the book. Hey, Chat GPT says they're not the people. They got to it. It's just going to be a matter of time, family, before they got to it. But full disclosure as well, too, family. I am working on an AI as well. It's called Black AI or Black History AI. That's going to be the next project after these books. Is putting out a AI for our community that's not corrupt. Because why is it not going to be corrupt? Because we will do the programming ourselves. We will do the programming ourselves. I'm a former software engineer, architect. So I actually have patents in software architecture or software engineering. And praise be to the Most High, we'll be able to put some of that experience to use in creating an AI for our community. And it kind of reminds me of, if you ever saw a like Terminator, like the Terminator movies, and they had like the of course the bad Terminators that wanted to unalive everybody, but they had that one good Terminator that they was able to reprogram. That's what I'm trying to do, family. I'm trying to get you one good Terminator that's going to help out the community, right, and help you battle the bad Terminator / AI bots that's out there. So anyway, but that's going to be the next project. But yeah, just want to get these book projects completed first. But that's it, family. Just looking for any questions before we sign off here. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it, family. So love you, family. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for hopping on. And yeah, I'll hop on through. We'll have some of these throughout the week just to check in with you, just to see if there's any questions or any issues. And like I said, just feel free to give me some feedback, family. Anything that we can improve, whether it be on in the book or on the website. Definitely put that in the email as well, in the chat, so that we can make those updates and changes. Oh, and family, as you get the book, oh man, I forgot about this. As you get the book, family, those ratings are important. So if you can help your brother out when you get your book, especially like whether it be on Amazon, feel free to write an awesome review, positive review on Amazon. Even on, let me see, do I have I think I have it on this page as well. I'll double check, fam. I really haven't paid too much attention to the reviews options on the web page, but I'll make sure that the reviews are there too. But yeah, definitely, yeah, positive rating. There you go. Thank you, Emasol. Yeah, even if your book pages are torn and look like it got chewed up, still give me a 5-star. There you go. There you go. But remember, like I was saying about Amazon, when they ship their books, one of the complaints was that for the paperback, they'll stick it in one of those envelopes with the bubble wrap in it. And some people complain that could cause some dings or issues on the book. Whereas if you order through my website, they're supposed to put it in that hard cardboard shell, which protects your book. So just throwing it out there. So if you get your Amazon book and it's got some dog ears on it, please don't ding your boy on that. Don't ding your man on that, family. That's Amazon's way of doing business. But you can also return it back, complain about it, that sort of thing. You do have 14 days from the time that you've received the book to review it, and if you have any issues, you can send it back, and we can work on getting you another one if that's what you want. So definitely we'll willing to work with your family, make sure that you're satisfied with what you have. But all right, family, been trying to get off here for 10 minutes, but love you, family. Can't wait for you to read chapter 5 in the book. We will have to talk about it because chapter 5 doesn't have everything, but we will have to talk about chapter 5 because I know you're gonna start reading like, what, wait, what happened? Why is that person here? What? And we're gonna have to talk about it. I know. We're gonna have to have some follow-up videos and discussions about it. But the book introduces it for the very first time. It exposes these people, and we will talk about it, bring out some additional information about it, and also talk about some of the crest and stuff like that, as well as another surprise for you in the back of the book. I believe it's in chapter 16, I think. Chapter 17 is like the last chapter, but it's like chapter 16 to 15. Reason why I don't know off the top of my head is because at the last minute I reshuffled some chapters around from the suggestion of the editor, just for reading purposes. It was like, you need to shuffle some of this stuff around. So I did that at the last minute. So now I kind of lost track of if I have it at 16 or 15. So anyway, but that's it, family. All right. Well, love you, fam. Enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll catch up with you later. And peace and blessings and shalom.
Tearing down idols and we cutting down posts. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. Throwing out crystals, we don't need these stones, and we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High, Yahuwah. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Yah Israel. Tearing down idols, we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals, yeah. We don't need these stones. We ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. Yeah. Oh. All praise. Who we say? All praise. Hey, all praise. Sing it again. All praise. Let's lift up a praise to Yah, yeah. All praise. We won't go the way of the pagan. We don't need no potions or sages. We won't let your word be forsaken. Even if we're hated, we don't need no potions. We won't let your word. No, even if we won't go the way. We don't need no potions or savior. We won't let your word be forsaken. Even if we're and we cutting down poles. We calling back Israel to the hell we know. We throwing out crystals. We don't need these stones, and we ain't no gods. That's a job for y'all. Everybody help me say all praise.